LeBron James, or excuse me, King James, to his most loyal subjects, could very well be the very best basketball player of all time. He's the only one to have triumphed in the NBA championships with 3 different teams: the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Miami Heat, and the Lakers. You're about to listen to the King's most controversial moments on and off the court. First up, his record. He has competed in 10 NBA finals, gaining 4 Most Valuable Player awards, and has won 2 Olympic gold medals. James has played in 17 seasons and is the highest scorer of all time. But LeBron has stirred up our emotions, some good, some not so great. Some of us love him, others don't. Are you still going to love him by the end of this session, or will you turn against him? Only time and you can tell. First up, the 2004 Olympics. LeBron James represented U.S. basketball in the 2004 Olympics at Athens. The team only scored a bronze medal, losing to an inspired Argentina side. James spent a large amount of his time on the bench, only playing around 14 minutes a game and only scoring an average of 5.8 points. These are terrible scores for most of the inspiring national basketball team, Team USA, and the most dominant individual player, King James, of course. James blamed the loss on his minimal playing time. His critics blamed it on him. His disrespect and sulking upset his managers and team members. Dealing with his moods and tantrums became a daily grind. But it's the big-hearted Ginobili changing the pace of play, sidestepping like a soccer player, leaving defenders lost. Ginobili inspired the Argentina team to victory over the US, scoring 29 points in the fateful match, the only time the Dream Team failed to strike gold. Still, LeBron James bounced back like a true champion in the 2008 and 2012 Olympics, winning gold in both games and scoring a triple-double in 2012. In 2008, he averaged 15.5 points and the US passed undefeated to the gold. In 2012, he helped Team USA to the gold medal, averaged 13.3 points, became the most valuable player of the National League, and won the NBA championship. In the gold medal game against Spain, he notched up 19 points, soaring over the defenders like a bird. Next up, LeBron James in the finals. So is LeBron James the best of all time? Let's remember his performance in the finals of the NBA. In 2007, the Spurs destroyed his team, the Cavaliers, 4-0. But this loss can't be blamed on him. He single-handedly brought a ragged bunch of teammates to the final, an achievement in itself. In 2011, the Mavericks beat his team, the Miami Heat, 4-2. Critics blame him for this. How could the greatest player ever lose to Dallas? That loss brought LeBron a great deal of heat and hate. In 2012, his team won at last. Heat beat Thunder 4-1, but that isn't enough to satisfy his critics. Surely a superhero like LeBron James could do much more. In 2013, he did it again. Heat beat the Spurs 4-3, and King pulled his final records back to 2-2. In 2014, he lost badly. The Spurs defeated Miami 4-1, but LeBron had terrible cramps in Game 1. In 2016, LeBron triumphed once again, scoring, rebounding, assisting, blocking, stealing, you name it, he did it. The Cavaliers stormed back to win a title for Cleveland. LeBron played like a true champion. In 2017, his team, the Cavaliers, lost 1-4 to the Warriors. This hurt him bad. Maybe he isn't the best player of all time after all after that, but his legacy remains. 15 appearances, surely he must be one of the best ever. Next in line, so where does he come from? James is born on December 30th, 1984 in Akron, Ohio. His mother, Gloria Mary James, is only 16 years old at the time. His father has a long criminal record and does not get involved in his son's life. His mother moves from apartment to apartment, struggling to make ends meet. LeBron is introduced to basketball at the age of 9. Guess he has never looked back since then. On the contrary, we have always looked up to him. He played for the Northeast Ohio Shooting Stars on a local and national level. From then, he has soared to the top. Next to go, his signature shots. It's May 22nd, the Eastern Conference Finals, Cavaliers against Orlando Magic. The Cavaliers are trailing the series, but James rises to the occasion. He soars above Hito Turkoglu and hits a game-winning three-pointer. This is part of a 35-point individual performance. It's February 4th, 2009. The Lakers are playing the New York Knicks. James scored 52 points, a historic triumph and turning point for his team. The Los Angeles Lakers win 107-102. Wow. March 20th, 2005, 56 points against the Toronto Raptors. Is there anything stopping him now? He was only 20 years old at the time. March 3rd, 2014, he set a career high, scoring 61 points in one match. Last of all, a legacy-setting moment, his block on Iguodala in the 2016 finals. There are less than 2 minutes remaining of that tense do-or-die match. The two teams are tied and nerves are at fever pitch. James leaps up to the sky, blocking the ball before it touches the backboard. A momentous dam in the river of time. Here's the biggest question of all. James or Jordan? Since James brought the Cleveland Cavaliers from nowhere men to heroes, the question has always been this: is James the best of all time? However, James couldn't repeat the victory of 2007, quit the Cavaliers, and muddied the waters. I've decided to take my talents to South Beach, James insisted, conceding defeat and betraying his team. Miami, on the other hand, celebrated, boasting that they would win 1 billion championships under LeBron's tutelage. Unfortunately, the Heat have only won 2 championships under the King, and Jordan won 6. LeBron qualified for 9 straight NBA Finals, but in basketball, like everything else, second place is just not good enough. James has never been able to score like Jordan, performing single-handed miracles with split seconds to go before doom washes over the side, but instead he has incorporated the skills of a facilitator. This has hurt his reputation because he has stifled the talents of the point guards in his team. In statistical terms, James can compete against Jordan. At the age of 34, Jordan has 31 points per game on average. That's actually a lot. James has 27.2 points per game at the same age, not so much, but still a lot. So if you count scoring and defending, Jordan is better. If you love assisting and rebounding, James wins the prize. I know which one I admire most, but what about you? Do you think Jordan is better or more inspirational, or do you think James is more rounded? Leave your comments below. Next in line, the decision. In July 2007, James told the media that he intended to take his talents to South Beach. He insisted that he truly felt awful about his decision. I feel even worse that I wasn't able to bring an NBA championship to the city. To my real fans out there, I hope you continue to support me. He told his supporters that he talked it over with his mother and that she agreed with him. Really, James? Are you hiding behind your mother? In any case, it seems that LeBron is lying about this because he traveled to Miami before talking to his mother. The owner of the Cavaliers totally lost it, also calling LeBron out as a quitter and declaring he has gotten a free pass. People have covered up for James for way too long. Tonight we saw who he really is. He quit, not in just Game 5, but in Games 2, 4, and 6. Watch the tape. The Boston series was unlike anything in the history of sports for a superstar. It's not about him leaving. It's disrespectful. It's time for people to hold these athletes accountable for their actions. Is this the way you raise your children? I've been holding this all in for a long time. That's not a very respectful way of addressing King James, is it? His teammates also felt betrayed, though. I can't believe this is really real. This is surreal. So many emotions on one man decision. I wonder what is our next move. The only thing I disagree with is if he knew somewhere else was the destination, he should have spared Clee on national TV. But this was history, so we might not understand the magnitude today. But when we look back on this, we might not see this again. Love you, Bron, and always will. I know you made your decision for the RT reason, but we could have got it done here and you would have enjoyed it. Tantrums 2. It's June 2021, not too long ago, is it? The Lakers are losing by 30 points to the Suns. There are 6 minutes left and the clock is ticking, and what can you, the greatest player ever, apart from Michael Jordan, do? If you're LeBron James, there's only one thing you could possibly do. Get up off the bench, stroll back to the locker room, and sulk. The series is tied, but our last action hero just surrendered. So why is the greatest of all time whimpering in the corner? Why isn't he staging the greatest comeback of all time? Doesn't he believe in the impossible? Is he not fighting on to the bitter end, no matter what? Clearly not. But what do you guys think? Did the all-time great Michael Jordan ever do that? How often did Jordan drag victory out of the jaws of defeat? Did Michael Jordan ever jump ship? Is LeBron James a quitter? His teammate Eddie House also called him out in the 2011 finals. I can't get over the fact he didn't show up in Dallas. Not only because I was on the team, but also because he was the best player and everybody was dependent on him to show up and do what he does. Last of all, cheating with Beyonce. His mother's ex-boyfriend has threatened to expose him on Instagram. Hashtag Godspeed. My book will be giving the world truth about why @Beyonce wasn't invited to @King James' wedding. Should we be worried?